Hello, welcome back to the channel for another brand new cinevlog where, yes, of course, I'm going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, welcome to the cinevlog. If you just want to skip to my spoiler review, I should hopefully have the timestamp in the description below for you to immediately go jump to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to the 12 noon showing. Why so early? Well, because one thing I've learned from, starting to go to the cinema by myself is I like to go pretty early. So that way I get it over and done with and I'm not, sitting around waiting because that's probably something I would end up doing is just wait until I can go to the cinema because I've done that before. But I'm not actually going alone for once, In every cinevlog I've done, I've always been the one that goes by themselves. This time, not really. I'm actually going with two of my friends. One of them has featured on the channel before. He's the one who helped put this room together. Not this current iteration, but like a super early version of it. Funny enough, also called Michael. Um, and then our other friend Owen, we are going to. So we're all going to see Deadpool. So yeah, last night I rewatched Deadpool 1 and 2 in prep for this, so they're still fresh in my mind instead of being years since I seen Deadpool 1 and not it hadn't been last time I seen Deadpool 2 was actually when it came out in 2018. Um so yeah, Deadpool 2 is definitely the best so far, but then again, I still have yet to watch Deadpool 3. So come along and enjoy the vlog portion of it, but like I said, if you want to just skip ahead to the spoiler review, I should hopefully have that in the description for a timestamp.
about to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine, what are your hopes for the film?
That it connects to any previous MCU movie and connects up to multiverse, and they don't make a feck up of it.
Who do you think is playing female Deadpool?
Ryan Reynolds' wife.
I think it's Ryan Reynolds. It'd just be the thing for him. So, what are your expectations for the film?
That Disney doesn't fuck it up. Yeah, and I hope that it doesn't, it won't be as good as it's made up to be, you know.
Who do you think is playing female Deadpool?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I definitely think it's Ryan Reynolds. It's something Ryan Reynolds would do. Even though he said he's not playing it, it is something Ryan Reynolds would do.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know now, but like we'll see.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any spoilers or anything like that for the female, so I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, let's go watch it.
Okay, so I've been home for a little bit now since seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. And like I said, it's in the title and it's in the thumbnail. This will be spoilers. If you do not want spoilers, I will leave a link to my friend the Trash Picture Show's YouTube channel, where he did post a roughly 4 minute spoiler-free review. So if you want a spoiler-free review before you go watch it, go check that out. It'll be at the around somewhere in the description down below. Now, that's giving you a few seconds now to click off. You have another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Best fucking Deadpool movie ever. Like, holy fucking hell. Like, I'm so glad that I got to experience it in cinema. Not only that, I'm so happy that I got to experience it with friends. You know, now I'm not going to say that go out and say I know everything that's in that's, you know, comic book wise and, you know, all this shit, because I don't. I couldn't give two tosses. I just want to go see a movie and have fun. And I love the Deadpool movies, you know. And yeah, this was a great one. So I wasn't sure where this was going to pick back up, because, you know, at the end of the last film, Deadpool is going through time. You know, we see him save Vanessa, we see him kill the one of the X-Men Wolverine versions of himself, and, you know, does a whole bunch of stuff. Saves Peter, saves a different person from X-Force as well, which I was surprised at. And yeah, we even see him go try to interview to join the Avengers in Earth 616. Now, I know a lot of people have issues with the MCU being referred to as Earth 616, because I believe that's what it's referred to as in the comics. And even in one of the Spider-Verse films, it actually gets referred to as Earth 19999 or something like that. So, I don't know. But in this movie, for purposes, I'll have to refer to as the Sacred Timeline as Earth 616. So he's there, he's interviewing Happy Hogan. There are Easter eggs in that room fucking galore. You know, we see an Iron Man helmet. We see the half of Captain America's shield that was seen in Iron Man 2. You know, where that was amazing. And again, there's probably a ton more Easter eggs. They even spotted the photo of Iron Man, Tony Stark with Spider-Man, but obviously Tom Holland was covered up. We even see the proof that Tony Stark had a heart bit on Happy's desk. And you know, it's a very funny scene of Deadpool trying to, you know, ask to join the Avengers. And when he gets rejected, we then skip forward to present day, where he's actually given up the mantle of Deadpool, and he is working with Peter in a car dealership. You know, trying to sell cars. Him and Vanessa apparently have split up in between the end of the second film, with her being saved, and the beginning of this film. It turns out that it's also Wade's birthday, and then they have a surprise party with him, for him, and, you know, we get Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who I love, with Yukio, who I also love. We see Colossus, who I absolutely love, Shame I don't think Colossus talks at all. We see Dopender. We obviously have Vanessa. Um, we have that one guy who in Deadpool 2, I think his name was Bert or something like that, where Ryan's like, next in the next film you're not allowed to speak, and he tries to speak in this, and he's like, remember you're not allowed to talk in this one, and then when he does speak later, it's like, are you fucking ad-libbing here? Which I absolutely love that. And so then, we like what we saw in the trailer, he gets recruited to the TVA, where apparently he's supposed to play this big pivotal role in the Secret Timeline, and because Wolverine is dead in the Deadpool universe, apparently they've introduced this new thing called an anchor, where if one important person in that timeline dies, over 1,000 years, that timeline is going to be erased. And so this guy named Paradox is like, yeah, but we're going to speed that up because this is obviously taking place post Loki season 1 and season 2, where they're allowing the timelines to flourish instead of pruning them, but he wants to prune one. And so he wants to prune Deadpool's timeline. And so he's starting to work on that. Deadpool, hearing that, knowing that they're going to prune his friends, his family, isn't too happy about that, and so he once he realizes that it's Wolverine that he needs, he also gets a look at some of the clips from the MCU, and we see a potential future scene of Thor leaning over Deadpool, and it's not Liam Hemsworth. I'm pretty sure it's not Liam Hemsworth. It kind of looked like Matt Damon, from the Thor Ragnarok scene. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. And so then Deadpool, he goes to find a bunch of different Wolverines, and it's this big montage. We actually get a comic accurate height Wolverine, which, seeing Hugh Jackman as a 4 foot person, fucking hilarious. Like that's what I love about this film. It's hilarious through and through. And so eventually, we go through a bunch of different Deadpools. We see Hulk. We see a Hulk. And then we land on the movie's version of Wolverine, who's apparently done something really, really bad. And so then he gets brought in, and then they both get pruned. And so they go to the Void, essentially. And that's where we get another cameo. And at first we just see red and blue, a red-blue uniform, and Deadpool, and I'm sure a lot of people will think, oh, it's going to be Captain America. I wonder which variant it's going to be. And then the person takes off the hood, and it's Chris fucking Evans. But he's not as Captain America. No. He's who I wanted in this film. I've been saying it for forever. It's Chris Evans returning as Johnny fucking Storm. And I was like, yes! Because the one thing I wanted, and I'm upset that it didn't happen. I'm still happy that we got Johnny Storm, because he's the Johnny, Chris Evans Johnny Storm is what I grew up on. And it was great to see. It was fucking great to see. I loved it. But the one thing I wanted Deadpool to say was, shut it, Captain America, or make reference to Chris Evans being Captain America. That's what I wanted. I didn't get that, but I did get Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, and I was so fucking happy. And so they get told about this person who feeds people to Goliath if you don't join her, and so they get captured. We get a Sabretooth. We get a Wolverine versus Sabretooth fight that ends pretty quickly. This is all after Deadpool and Wolverine fight, which is a great scene. They fight twice, I think, and so on and so forth. So that goes on. We get introduced to our villain. We see the Juggernaut from the Fox X-Men movies from the early 2001s, which I was so happy about, which we knew about. If you looked at the trailers, you would see it. So they go off trying to get out of the place. They run across Dogpool, who I hate. Not that I hate the thought of Dogpool. I just, for me, there's certain dogs that I don't like. Pugs is the main one. Now, Dogpool isn't a pug, however, I get it, it's supposed to be an ugly dog, and so forth. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. But yeah, then we get introduced to Nice Pool, who is basically just Ryan Reynolds with long hair, and I love that. And I love the fact that he's always nice. And there's a bit of a Chekhov's gun there, where Deadpool asks to get his golden desert eagles, and he says no, and he wants Dogpool. He gets told no. And then after the second fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, someone finds them obviously the next morning after their big blowout, and at some point we do learn that what happened was uh, that this version of Wolverine wasn't a team player. He didn't want anything to do with it with them, and he went out drinking one night, and that's when the humans decided to have a mutant hunt and attacked the you know, the Professor Xavier's school and killed everyone except for Logan. And then he got vengeful and started to kill people, both good and bad. And that's what that version of Wolverine done. So they get rescued by Elektra. That failed movie from the early 2000s that I don't recall seeing, but I do remember my mother owning that film. And then it turns out she's not alone. There's others, and I was freaking out at this point when these three people when they walked in, because I was like, holy shit! Like I obviously knew Elektra was going to be there, but the other two I did not know, and I was like, my childhood, my literal fucking childhood. Because in walks Wesley Snipes as Blade, and I was like, oh my god, because I keep forgetting that, when I watched the Blade films, I didn't know they were Marvel projects, so I keep forgetting that in the Marvel universe, vampires exist. Like, I know witches and wizards exist, and sorcerers supremes and all that garbage, but still, I fucking love Wesley Snipes and I love Blade. Like, it's so Blade. I love the Blade. I haven't seen them in ages, but I love them. I fucking love them when I seen them. And then not only that, but one of my favorite X-Men walks in, motherfucking Gambit. Gambit walks in. I was like, ah. I was so freaked out at that point because I loved Gambit. Gambit and Nightcrawler are my two favorite mutants from the X-Men, from X-Men. They are my two favorites. Like, I remember fucking playing X-Men's Legends 2 on the PlayStation 2 and being able to build my own, because you can build your own 4 X-Men team as you go around unlocking other X-Men. And I would always have Gambit and Nightcrawler on my squad because those were my favorites. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Nightcrawler in this. And so, yeah, one gripe I do have with the film is, we get introduced to the main villain, who is Charles Xavier's sister, that even Charles didn't know about. And, we see her in the beginning, in the start of the second half, when we get into the place. Eliath is still, kicking around, so old Loki didn't get rid of him fully. And then it's not until the start of the third act that we see her again, and then she's a villain towards the end. And then, of course, a much older X-23 shows up. Now, like I said, I haven't seen Logan. And I know a lot of MCU fanboys are going like, what? You haven't seen Logan? You need to see Logan. I'll get around to it eventually. Whenever I feel like it. I'm in no rush. But yeah, then, they fight because there's only two people that could stop, not have to deal with, I forget her name, the main villain's name, but she has roughly the same powers as, Professor X. And so there's only two known things to prevent that, and that is Magneto, who's been killed. Any Magneto that shows up is killed, and their helmets are destroyed. And Juggernaut, who happens to be working for the main villain. And we get mention of Daredevil. It's a shame that we didn't get the first movie Daredevil because I love that film. I remember watching it as a kid and loving it. Haven't seen it since, um, but I do like the Ben Affleck Daredevil film. I'll probably need to rewatch it at some point. And then the Punisher gets mentioned as well, which when AJ sees that, I know he's going to be happy, but also sad that we didn't actually get to see any of the live action Punishers that we've had, because it gets mentioned that there's been five. So yeah. So they go, they fight, they end up stopping her. They go back. They try to stop, the Wade's world from being pruning, and then the main villain shows back up because a Doctor Strange showed up and was killed, and so that's how they get back, as the ring thing, and so she goes and tries to prune all worlds and send them into the void so she can rule as queen, and they bring in an army of Deadpools. And so this is where we see Ladypool, who is played by Blake Lively. I seen it in the credits. No unmasked scene, unfortunately. And yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different versions of Deadpool throughout all the time. There's a Celtic, a Welsh Deadpool. There's even a Scottish Deadpool. I'm pretty sure there would have been an Irish Deadpool at somewhere in the mix, and Nicepool even shows up to be immediately killed, and he's the only Deadpool that can't regen. Uh, all the others can. So it's just this massive fight scene. Long. I think it's a long take. Of Wolverine and Deadpool fighting the other Deadpools. He even puts down the cowl for Wolverine, and they go on a massive fight, and then they start to regen, and that's when Peter shows up. Except he's wearing the Peter Pool costume. And I just realized I forgot about something very, very funny, and that's the actual proper beginning of the film. Like, I know I'm now like 16 minutes into this review, but the beginning of the film has, Deadpool digging up Logan's remains and getting absolutely pissed that he actually is dead. We see this adamantium skeleton there, and then the TVA comes through, and so he then starts to beat the living shit, kill them essentially, with Deadpool, not Deadpool, with Wolverine's skeleton dancing to NSYNC, which was fucking hilarious. Like, it had the entire cinema in stitches. Eventually, they do stop it. Initially, it was told that you need to do something with the dark matter, antimatter, matter and antimatter stuff. And initially it was going to be Wolverine was going to go sacrifice himself. But then Deadpool, goes in. There's a reference to Wrath of Khan in there as well, which I loved. I caught that reference. I mean, any Star Trek fan would have caught that reference. Any non-Star Trek fan would have caught that reference. And then it turns out it's both of them that go in there, and they both survive, and then that's that. That's the end of the film, and it's definitely the best. Like, I'm looking at this now with the fresh perspective of having rewatched Deadpool 1 and 2 prior to going into this. I'm glad I did, because I can confidently say Deadpool 3, Deadpool 2, and then Deadpool 1. I'm not saying any of them are bad. They're all great films, but Deadpool 3 is the best. Like I said, my fucking childhood when I saw Blade and Gambit there, I was like, I fucking loved it. So yeah, cinema experience, it wasn't like full for like the first showing at like 12 noon when we went, but there was a good chunk of people there. I'd say about maybe 20-30 people. And I didn't look around to see, but that's just at a guesstimate. I could be wrong though, but it was a pretty big auditorium. But yeah, well worth it. I'm so fucking happy I seen it. And that is going to wrap this up. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. There will be, of course, a video out on Friday at the start of a new month. So yeah, I'll see you all for that upload. I don't know when. I don't think I'll be doing another Cinevlog for the rest of this year, unless there's a film that's being re-released that I want to see. Maybe for Sonic 3. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see how things go. But yeah, that is it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought of Deadpool 3 in the comments down below. I fucking love this film. And yeah, I shall see you all on the next upload.